Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to the 1001 or first episode of Wake Up Legendary. That's right, my friends. We've done 1,000 episodes of Wake Up Legendary. Today is the 1,001 episode. We are moving into quadruple digits here. Holy smokes. This is unbelievable. Not many shows or podcasts, especially if any, in the marketing industry, have gone and created this many episodes. We're proud to be out in the forefront of that. And it's all because of you. We have so many amazing people inside of this community that we have interviewed. And coffee time. For those of you who are new to the show, what we do on the show is we interview our actual clients who have gone through our actual education and who are getting results. Also, talk about their ups, downs, all arounds, good, bad, the ugly, what it takes to actually build a business and some of the things that you're going to need to be aware of, focus on, and hopefully you can identify to some of the ups, downs, and all arounds and not feel so alone in this journey. With that being said, let's go ahead and bring in our guest. Really excited to speak to her. She is a labor and delivery nurse who's going to share her strategies to build a strong Instagram following. Quincy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. Congratulations on being the 1,001 episode here. How's that feel?
Oh, that's pretty cool. And it'll be easy to find, right? If I ever want to tell someone, oh, go check out the episode, it's 1,001.
That's right. That's right. Very, very, very simple and easy to remember. Well, hey, talk to us first and foremost. Where are you calling in from?
Florida. I heard I'm neighbors with you. I didn't know you were from here, but yeah, I'm neighbors with you.
Florida's awesome. What brought you to want to start an online business?
I didn't. So my story's a little bit different. So my husband and I are both nurses, and he wanted to go into nurse anesthesia, and we're from Denver, and there is not a single nurse anesthesia program in Denver. The doctors kind of have a chokehold on that education. So we knew we were going to have to move, and we knew we were going to have to do this 3-year program where he's not allowed to work. We knew that we were going to have to do that by savings or by my income. So when we moved here to Florida for his program, I was looking at side hustles, mostly nursing, since that's what I was familiar with. And I was talking with my mom one day, and you know how our phones are always listening, and other marketing strategy. I was like telling her I wanted a side hustle, and she mentioned, have you thought about affiliate marketing? And I was like, I don't even know what that is. And that was the end of it. But then my Instagram algorithm was just sending me all the videos of affiliate marketers. And I showed them to my husband, and he took off with it. So he actually went and did the challenge. And I was kind of hearing in the background, listening here or there. And I remember it started talking about the blueprints and stuff. And I just got up and left. I'm like, okay, we tried. Next, we'll just take out student loans. It's going to be great. It's going to be fine. But then he came to me and he's like, Quincy, I'm going to do this. I'm going to invest in the blueprints. I want to learn. I think that this is something that I could do on the side of nurse anesthesia school. But he has no social media background at all. So he was like, if I just tell you what kind of content I want to do, could you run a page for me? So I started that for him. And over time, it morphed. I started learning more. I started looking into it more. And eventually I had 3 different profiles that I was running for him. One was with business tips because he has a business degree. One was with side hustle videos because that's what I was seeing other people doing. And one was just fatherhood tips. And I was making 3 different reels for 3 different profiles every day trying to connect. And some of them were starting to grow. And I realized the biggest problem was going to be when people were starting to reach out and they wanted more information. I'm like, hey, will you talk to this person about this aspect of starting a digital business? And he's looking at me like, what are you talking about? Like, you've just ran off, you're doing your own thing, and I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. So I kind of got to a point where I'm like, I think I need to be the face of this. Like, now I've kind of taken over on this. And so I did. So I started my own. And so for about a month, I was running 4 Instagrams, and mine ended up just taking off. And so I eventually told him, I'm like, hey, I know that this was your baby and your idea, but you're so busy with school. I think I'm going to take off. And he was like, it's about time. Like this, you've been doing all this. Like, it's about time. Go for it.
Well, shout out to mom first and foremost. She got the algorithm moving and grooving.
Yeah.
Shout out to your husband. What sounds like an incredible man. Somebody who is willing to take on the load there, but is also quite the entrepreneur himself, and delegating and getting other people involved. And shout out to you for taking it and running with it. Are you glad that you made that decision?
Oh yeah, now I am, right? Like, I mean, this has been an evolution of things, right? But in the beginning, it felt silly. I didn't know what we were doing. We were just filming random videos, trying to hope that something stuck. And now I have just learned so much, both through the blueprints and just through my own seeking out education, that now I'm like, wow, like there's so much to building an online business. And I have so many plans for the future. Like, I know that this is just the beginning, but something had stuck with me. I think I learned it in your blueprints, that was like, it's easiest to start as an affiliate, because then you can know that the product is good, the product works, and other people are selling it. And you just need to work on your own advertising and know how to sell, which I'm not a salesman by background, right? I'm a nurse. So that has not come easy. And so that's why I started with the affiliate world. But I know eventually we have plans. Like, my husband wants to open a pain clinic when he is done with anesthesia school. And now I'm like, golly, we know so many skills to be able to make that just like up to the next level. Like, I know that that'll be a success, and we are not even close to starting it, right? But because of these skills, I'm like, oh, there's just so much potential for that. And then as a labor nurse, I always wanted to do my own digital courses, and I've seen other people do them, and they're so cool, and you build such a cool community. But I was like, I don't even know where to begin. So I heard that knowledge, and I'm like, okay, I need to learn skills first. I need to know all about the Instagram algorithm and social media in general. And I need to learn how to market and how to build an audience and how to be appealing and how to be a speaker, all these things. So I've kind of taken this as like a learning opportunity for so many things that are going to come in the future for us.
Oh man, you're on fire. You are on fire. Seriously. I mean, this is what we're here for. This is what these skills are for. I mean, this is what it's all about. It's not only about learning ways that you can monetize, pretty simple marketing skills. Not saying they're easy, but pretty simple marketing skills on the internet to be able to create income, activity, impact. Also, and those are through the core 4 business models. We start out with affiliate marketing because, yeah, it's easier to sell somebody else's product than sell your own at first. You only have to focus on marketing. You learn customer service. You learn what works and what doesn't with customers. You learn how to be a professional. You learn a lot of things. Hopefully you learn how to then, if you want to go on and have your own product and community, how to serve that community in a way that is going to be impactful for them, and also is not going to it is going to allow your business to continue to thrive. That's one of the purposes of starting out with affiliate marketing. You're absolutely right. And then, man, you really hit the nail on the head there with the skills that you learn here that apply to any business.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see why so many businesses suffer and struggle, right? Now that you know these marketing skills and you're learning, and you're still in the process of learning them, we all are, you can see with doctors, nurses, other professionals not having marketing knowledge,
Yep.
you can see it's so obvious why they struggle, isn't it now?
Absolutely. I know. I'm like, why don't they teach this in school? I know you said that, but it's like, there's so much value here, and this is just real life. You can implement it to anything. And it's sad because I feel like there's been a lot of talk out there right now. It's like, oh, digital marketing is just buying a course to sell a course. And I get so many people now that come to me and they're like, well, so what if I don't want to sell a course? I'm like, okay, you've never seen anything about that on my page, because I never talk about that. So you've heard this from someone else, but it's like, no, this is you taking whatever passion you want, or something you're good at, or something you want to be good at, and you take these skills and you learn to make money off of it. And you don't have to go to a 9 to 5. You don't have to have a boss. You can do it on your own. So that's what I use my page for a lot, is just showing people so many different ideas and examples to get their wheels rolling, because I didn't. I went to college, I got the nursing degree, and I was very tunnel visioned. I was like, okay, I'm a nurse. That's what I do. I work in a hospital. I clock in, I clock out, I get my paycheck. And that's scary now, actually, looking back. I'm like, that all of your income is in one basket. So I like to use my profile to show a ton of different examples. Look what you could do with this business. Look what you could do with that business. Because I feel like that's what people really need to see, is all their different options, and recognize that going to a 9 to 5 should not be the norm. We should all be our own boss. And yeah, we can come together and help each other. And we do need 9 to 5 workers, right? But there's just so many other options out there if you don't want that life.
Yeah. And even learning the skills inside of a or at the same time while you're working in a job is such a smart idea. For those of you who have 9 to 5 jobs, this is not about just quitting those jobs and, making a irrational decision. It, I've always said this: how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you are really sucking at your job, you're not gonna leave that job and crush it in your business. You need to be crushing it in your job too. You need to be crushing it in your job. Like, I'll just come out and say that as clear as I can. You need to be crushing it in your job, and be at the same time, if you're unhappy with that job, or if you just feel like, hey, I should be developing some skills, I should be learning some other things, you should be doing that in your own time, in launching stuff, in testing stuff, in trying stuff. And then eventually, if you want to transition to full-time online marketing or entrepreneurship, you can do that. But you're going to, not quitting your job immediately is also going to be a good delayed gratification muscle that you need to build, because you may not love your job right now, but if you quit it, now all of a sudden you put yourself in a financial strain, and you move over into entrepreneurship, and now you need immediate gratification. And entrepreneurship is not always about immediate gratification. Entrepreneurship, especially at the beginning, is about getting your momentum going. There's going to be some time that everybody's journey is different, where you can build up enough income to go full-time with that business. Let's talk about your launch. You touched a little bit about your learning experience and how eye-opening it was. What was it like for you? What limiting beliefs, what, hang-ups, insecurities, what did you bump up against when you first started marketing, launching, that you had to overcome?
So mine was all about my face. I did not want my face to be out there. And so even as my husband finished the challenge and he was starting on his own, we had talked about me doing one, and I did a failed MLM in 2019. Failed, I guess, is, you learn some things, right? But it was a health coach under the guise of being a health coach, right? And I was like, oh, cool, I'm a nurse. I love to help people. Let me go be a health coach. And I remember as the girl was like talking to me, she was a friend of mine. She was like, oh, you have such a good social media presence. This will be great. And I was kind of like, what does that have to do with health coaching? And then I quickly learned that I was just going to be sharing this stuff all over my own social media feed, right? And so I made enough to make my money back, and then I quit. And I was like, I'm never doing anything online again. That was kind of embarrassing. So when this whole thing started, I'm like, I don't want my face out there. It's going to be like, oh, here comes Quincy. She's doing another something. What do we have to buy now to help her break even with these costs? So I didn't want to do it. And that was one of the reasons too, that he was just doing it all. So when I came in, I went and blocked everybody that we knew on his accounts, because I really just didn't want other people's opinions when we went into it. And when I went 3 months running all 3 of his accounts, and we had never been found by anyone that we knew, then I realized, oh, okay, I have no fear. I'm not really afraid of strangers or their opinions. Like, they're not paying my bills, whatever. So then I just went in, and before I even uploaded a profile picture for myself, I went in and I blocked. I went crazy with the blocking. I blocked everybody. And then I had no fear, really. Like, then I was just like, okay, I can just be myself, because this is only going to strangers. I don't care. And maybe I'll unblock people one day, maybe I won't, but it's been kind of nice to have my own thing, honestly, not have people's opinions, and just learn and take off. I've just been calling it silent success. Like, it's kind of cool to just be like a silent success in something that no one even knows anything about. And like I said, maybe I'll change my mind one day, but for now, it's fun to be the silent success.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a little bit to say about, like, if you ever won the lottery, would you go and tell all your friends and family? I mean, would that?
I probably wouldn't. I probably would be gracious in my gifting to them, and I would never want them to know why. Right? That's I'd want it to be.
Right. Right. Kind of anonymously. Yeah. I mean, I think that's an interesting question that can help you, kind of determine if what your comfort level is with friends and family, knowing about your activities, or your business. I mean, because you have to go into this believing that you're going to be successful with it. That is one of the kind of key things. You have to create positive, quote, self-fulfilling prophecies, right? I mean, you can't go into this with a negative, outlook or vision, because you are going to create a negative self-fulfilling prophecy. That's a thing. You at least it is in my life and in my belief system. I have believed things to become true in my life. You think about something enough, you start to act it out, it then becomes reality. And so if I want to be successful, I need to know that I'm going to be successful. I need to begin to think about being successful. I need to plan to be successful. And if one of those part of that planning is that I'm going to go ahead and, block friends and family from my Facebook or Instagram, or start a new profile. What was it that you did? Start a new profile, or did you go through your followers or friends list? Was this on Facebook, Instagram? What was it?
Yeah, so I just started a new profile and just went in and blocked.
Oh, blocked. Okay. So you started a new profile, and then you were able to, in that profile, bring up those specific names when starting that profile, and just block those people.
And you can also turn it off to not go recommend your page based off of your phone number or your location. So I did that as well.
Well, there you go. I mean, and here's another thing that I think we all kind of tiptoe on social media with, is this idea that we can only have one profile. And the truth is that you can have as many profiles as you want on social media. And so you can create a new profile. You could create, as you had, multiple profiles. Talk about kind of your approach at the beginning, and how you either evolved that over time to what you're working with now, how having multiple channels at the beginning either was a benefit or a detriment to your focus and success and momentum. Talk to us a little bit about that, because I want people to understand, I want people to learn from your experience, but I also want people to understand that social media, it's free. It's free to set up accounts. You're not breaking any terms and conditions by setting up multiple accounts under different themes. You could have one under your personal name, one under this particular theme name, that theme name, another theme name. They could all be different themed pages. What was your experience with starting multiple pages at the beginning? And if you could go back, how would you do it differently, or the same?
Well, I honestly don't think I would change anything. I had held off shutting down any of the profiles that I was running for my husband initially, because I had spent so much time in them, and I felt like it was really going to be a bummer to let them go. I'm like, no, I want them all to be successful, which is ridiculous. So I finally got to the point where I'm like, each one of these has taught me different things, and I have learned so much about analytics. You don't get analytics on just your personal profile, but I'm like, with these pages, I have been able to learn about analytics and what views like what videos cause views, what videos cause comments. I got to practice with different calls to actions, different hooks, to learn how to do good copy. And I'm not saying all my posts on my page were great from the get-go. We all have cringy stuff in the beginning, right? But it helped me that when I started, I'm like, okay, I know this is going to work. Like there's not an option. I've built up these other profiles enough to see that I know where success is, and what kind of content builds a following. So then I was able to start, and I feel like it took off pretty quickly. I feel like storytelling, people are always talking about, and I felt pretty beat down by that phrase because I'm like, what does that even mean? No one cares about my story. But what I've realized is sharing your story ends up being my highest following. And it's not just sharing, this is what I did to get here. A story is just taking a tiny piece from your life that made an impact and can be relatable and is relevant to your niche. So I have found that for me, where I can get my throw in your hat, where I get the posts that have the highest following are ones that I have shared little bits about work drama, like everyone can relate to that. And of course you have to be careful with that, right? Because you don't want to ever disclose anybody else. And then just motherhood, right? Like it's so hard to leave babies at home. I don't feel like it is natural. I feel like we were meant to be with our babies and raise them ourselves. So when you share those stories, it touches people. And then you don't just share your story and say, thanks for stopping by, have a nice day. Instead, you make the call to action where it's like, I'm sharing this because I found a way out and now I want to help you too. So follow me. Don't miss out on this. I'm going to help you get out. And that's where I found that those are the posts that really take you from, a few followers here and there to where you could get thousands of followers off of one post. It doesn't happen every time, right? It's a game, but that's one thing that I've really found to work on my pages.
Great tips, great information, great experience. This really is the marketing method of 2024 and beyond. It's social media marketing. It's audience building. What do you feel is the best way to practice and get into a groove of creating good content? What was the thing? And the obvious answer I know is I just did it and I practiced enough times. Is there anything else that helped you to become more comfortable on camera?
More comfortable on camera. I mean, I only just barely did my first live this week on my Instagram. So I will say that aspect took a little longer because then you know that there's people that are coming and you can't just edit things out. We have that luxury on social media. But I also just have come to the terms with people just want to talk to people that are relatable. So even if you do mess up, even if my house is a mess, even if one of my kids talks while I'm on a voice message with somebody, that's relatable. That just shows that you're a real human being. And in this world where so many things are becoming not real, with AI taking over so many things and just everyone thinks that everything is a scam. No one trusts anybody. So I think when you come out authentically yourself and you're actually showing up as you are in your house, like that's why people come to you. They're like, oh my gosh. I mean, so many times people have told me, you are just so genuine. I want to work with you because I can tell that you actually want to help people. And that's just my nature. I helped people deliver their babies in the hospital. I still do 1 day a week. I love that. That'll always be my passion. And now I'm converting to how can I help you stay home with your babies? Because really the delivery is cool, but staying home and raising our kids for forever, that is where we matter the most. Right.
And that's a cool story. I mean, that's a cool angle. I like that. You have to find the creative angles in your own story. One of the things that you mentioned just a moment ago was that, quote, telling your story. Yeah, people like say that so much. And we said that. We taught a lot of people who say that on the internet to use their stories, to use story in marketing. And so many people talk about storytelling that, for somebody who's new coming on to the in this world, it can feel kind of like, oh, if I hear that one more time, I'm gonna scream. And you nailed it. You take a point that you're trying to make in a piece of your life, a story that relates, even a story that is not from your life. It's just really about using some form of analogy, parable, or story, it's kind of all the same, right? I mean, a story is an analogy, is a parable, right? It's just that is it something that's from your life, somebody else's life, or just like a fictional kind of there was a dog that walked down the street one time, right? That would be like a, I mean, unless it's true, right? That would be like a fictional story. But it kind of all boils down to like the phrase that I have said for years, which is, don't make a point without telling a story.
Yeah.
Don't tell a story without making a point, which that one's obvious, right? It's like,
head when I'm making posts like that. I can hear you say that exact line in my head. And I think with storytelling too, you're trying to evoke an emotion, right? So I think it's hard for people to think about stories. At least it was for me in the beginning. It's like, well, what stories? I don't know what's going to make an impact. And you just think back to when you felt emotion in different situations. When was it super emotional? Because a lot of times we're all human. We can relate to each other. So if you had a bad experience at work, or you had a really hard day when your baby did something without you being there, like those are the things that brought me emotion. And I share those things, and that's what resonates with other people and make them be like, okay, she gets it. She's a real person and she can help me. So let me follow her. Let me see what she has to offer. Let me work with her. And then you still have to show up, right? Like it's not just the storytelling. If I just drop those on my page and then just let people scramble, I think a lot would leave. But it's like then when people reach out to me, I do my best to respond to each and every single message. I don't use ManyChat or anything. I hope to never have to, because I really do just want to show up for my audience. And I try to do voice message because I just feel like it makes such a big difference when people hear you and they know, oh, okay, so that girl from the video, she really is real. And then if they give me information about a business that they want to start, I love to talk with them about like different strategies or different things that I've seen to help them, because I feel like that's what they're reaching out for is, hey, I have this idea. Could it actually work? Do you actually think this could work? And, it's not like I'm an expert, but I just feel like I'm a few steps ahead of them and I can help. Hey, based off of what I know, what I've learned, here's tools that you can access. Go visit this link on my page, or let's talk through it. What are you thinking? So, showing up, be genuine, be authentic.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you about that. How do you turn a follower into a lead? How do you turn a lead into a client? Social, you just touched a little bit on it of, people's tendencies nowadays. There was a time to where people weren't so chatty in the DMs. There was a time a few years ago and beyond, now the internet's decades old. It's not just like it's this brand new thing. I mean, I was doing it 13 years ago when I started, and it was around for a long time then. It wasn't like I was like in the .com bubble, I mean, that was, if I remember correctly, like more in the 90s, right? I got started in 2009 or 10. More around 2010-ish. I had been, clean for a little while. I had gotten clean from drugs and alcohol. I was sort of on my path of sobriety, and I was working construction with my dad and just kind of realized I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. And I had been prospected actually on a construction job for an MLM, and I was like, this is my ticket out, man. And I failed miserably forward. I was driving around in my old 1990 Ford F-150 with, I had to start with a screwdriver trying to, prospect people, sell them phone service and enroll them in my business. And, it just wasn't working out. I'd put, magnets on the side of my truck like I was a driving billboard, and people would just be like, ew, like, oh,
sticky notes on a gas station once, and I've thought about that before. I'm like, that seems like that's just
desperate
at that point. Come on, hell, anything, right?
Yeah,
I mean, we're so lucky.
Any bum that came along on the gas pump, it's just like, just please call me. Just
we can
anybody.
Just help you get clean. That's where
yeah, right. They call me, and then I end up giving them a recovery speech. And so, yeah, I came on 2010-ish, and about a year and some change after I got clean, almost 2 years, got clean in 2008. And yeah, the internet was around, and people weren't as chatty. There wasn't as many direct messages. There wasn't as many, like, people would click links and go. Nowadays people are like really chatty. They want to reach out. They want to send you a message. They want to have personal connection. They want to connect. They want to message you first. I say all that to ask, what are you noticing and what works best in your experience in terms of taking somebody from watcher and follower to lead, i.e., they want to give you their email, they want more from you, they want to reveal themselves as interested, and then ultimately on to customer. What do you see people's tendencies are, and how do you make sure that you capture the people who want to direct message you as well as those who don't, because they do still exist?
Yeah, so I think there's two different groups of people, and what I've realized is helpful is if in the bottom of your caption you can include multiple calls to action, right? You don't have to just do one. So I've played around with this, and sometimes if you have two calls to action where it's like, hey, if you just want my free guide, comment guide and I'll give you my guide. If you want more information on what I'm doing and the side hustle that I'm doing to see if it's a good fit for you, I'll personally reach out to you, comment info below. So then I go through based off of what they ask for, because people just need to be asked their opinion and they'll give it to you. We love to give our opinions. So if I get a guide comment, send them my guide, and that's it. I'll send them a little message afterwards too, just saying like how it's blessed my life, and reach out if you do have any questions, right? And then those that say info, those are the ones that I'll reach out to, and I'll voice message them and just see what they're thinking. I know, just like as you were talking previously, I honestly feel like social media came into play and made us less social. Like it made us become behind a camera, right? And I think we as humans are really meant to have that human connection. And honestly, thank goodness to my nursing career, it has made me very good at talking with people and being empathetic to their situations. Just that comes naturally to me now. So then I feel like you're just able to talk to people. People will tell you their situation, and then you just have to like help them. That's all people want. People just want help. And I don't even think people mind paying for it, really. So, I mean, I've had people come and just be like, hey, what would you charge me to do a consult? And oftentimes I'm just like, what do you need help with? Let's just talk it through. I'm not going to charge you. Let's just talk it through. And oftentimes those are the ones that turn into your leads, right? Because if you offer help freely, they're going to be like, wow, that was so much value you gave me for free. I can't imagine what I would get for paying for something that you recommend. So if you're recommending it, I'm going to go for it. So.
Yeah, that's great. How often do you use voice message, and when is the right time to send a voice message? When is the right time to send to type it out? What are your thoughts? Because I think voice message is powerful, and it can be difficult for people to listen to things because they are at their jobs, or they're I don't know, they're in public places or whatever. How do you utilize that? Has it been a game changer for you?
Yeah, so I feel like one word responses, people don't want to talk to you. But if people are spilling their information and they're giving you a paragraph, or they're even just saying, wow, this will make a big impact, I just lost my job, whatever it is, those are the people that I'll talk to. Or if people are asking questions that just require a lot more of my time, because at the end of the day, I have 4 little kids and it is hard to juggle all of that. And sometimes I will be to a message while I'm in the car driving them to the pool, or while I'm unloading the dishwasher. And so it'll just be like, okay, I have 2 minutes. You ask this question, I'm going to just answer it with a voice message. And most of the time, at least for my audience, they appreciate it. Like, wow, like no one ever responded back to me with a voice message. That was so helpful. So I feel like you have to gauge it. I'm sure I've messed up a few times, right? People that are like, dude, I just wanted a message, and you're like way over here. But I feel like for the most part, people appreciate it, want your information that you have. That's why they started following, right? It's because you had something that they wanted. So some people will just take it. And honestly, some of my people that have converted, didn't ever talk to me. And I feel like that's fine too. Like some people don't need that and they won't ask for that. And they can just go get the link from in your bio and they just take off on their own journey. And I think that's fine too. Because that's what my husband did. He never talked to anybody. He just clicked on the link and he went on his merry way. Whereas others I've talked to a lot, and then they're the ones that convert over. So everyone's on their own journey, right? And we can only do our best to kind of analyze each situation to be able to determine what is going to help them the best.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's a lot of people who won't reach out. I mean, you nailed that too. I mean, my experience over the years, if I was to say collectively, the majority of buyers are still quiet onlookers. Mm-hmm. And they don't want a whole bunch of outreach and a whole bunch of before they make their decision. They just are going to make their decision. They know if they're going to buy or not. And it's really, really important to give people a clear path into into your free gift or your funnel, where you are collecting email addresses so you can follow up with them, because life shows up. Just because they decide to opt in doesn't mean they're going to buy immediately. And so you need to be able to follow up. Talk to us a little bit about your email marketing strategy. How has that evolved? What does your list look like? What do they like to, what do they like to receive from you based on more opens, more link clicks? Talk to us a little bit about your email marketing.
Yeah, well, I think you hit the nail on the head that some people won't go right away. In fact, I feel most won't buy right away. I've heard that the average person needs 7 exposures, right? So I feel like that can come from your Instagram, or your social media platform, whatever you're using to be able to have people see that. But your really warm leads are the ones that opted in, right? So you want to be giving them good value, which that was a hard thing for me to learn in the beginning too, like what is value? And now what I provide in my email list before someone transitions over is all of the benefits that I found, how it's changed my life, the things that are taught within the 5-day challenge or within the blueprints, like little nuggets that I'm like, wow, like I never thought of that before starting that. And maybe someone else hasn't thought of it either. Because really, I want someone to get my email and be like, oh, good. It's an email from Quincy. What is she teaching me today? This is going to be good, right? I don't want to just be this salesperson that they're like, oh my gosh, delete, block, go away. Like I've heard enough of this. So I don't do a lot of like selling, or at least I like to think I don't. A lot of mine is just like, hey, did you know about this? Because I didn't. And here's the resources that I use to learn more. And then when people transition over, that is like even better. That's my email campaign that is going to come in with like all the best things. Like I actually created my own digital product this week for just how to grow as a brand new beginner on Instagram. And I do sell that, but also I just gave it away to anyone that was going to buy the $5 challenge, because I feel like that was, I just compiled all my best tips in it, because I'm like, well, if I was just starting, like that's kind of a good place to get warmed up and be like, okay, what am I going to really need to start a brand new Instagram? So I just wanted to give it away. I just wanted to be able to help the people that really want it. So that's what I use my email campaign. It's just an extension of being able to help people. And I really hope that it's something where when people see my email, they're like, oh, don't delete that. I'll get back to it if I don't have time now. But I know that whatever's going to be in that is going to help me decide whether or not I want to do a business or help me within my business that I've started.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So, Quincy, what have you learned about yourself throughout this process?
Well, I have a little story that I'll just backpedal with this. When I was in high school, I loved photography, loved it. And I did a ton of research on different cameras. And there was this camera I wanted, and it was $900. And as you can imagine, this was 15 years ago. $900 is a lot of money for a teenager to come up with. So my parents agreed for my birthday to split it in half with me. I got this camera. I read the entire manual. I followed so many blogs about photography, and I learned about different angles to take pictures at and lighting. And I knew everything about this camera. And then I just started volunteering to take photos for people. And I did newborn photos. I did senior photos. I did family photos. And I never charged a dime. I would only take donations because I felt that I wasn't good enough. I felt that I needed some title or some credential to be able to do it. And in college, I even got good enough that I did a wedding. And I remember same thing. I didn't charge anything. They gave me $500. I was jazzed about that. But my husband, he was like, why don't you turn this into a business? And I was like, I don't know how, honestly. And I feel like I need a degree or something, or people won't take me seriously. And so now I'm like, what I've learned about myself is that's not true. Like, you don't have to have a degree. And I wish I never would have thought to myself, like, oh, because I don't have a degree in photography, I can't go off and be a photographer, because most don't. But I just like lacked that self-control or self-confidence, or even just the knowledge to know that most people that are really successful didn't have a degree in what they did. And so I look back at my teenage self, Quincy, and I'm like, dang it, if you only like knew that these skills were out there, you could have had such a profitable photography business by this point. So who knows, maybe one day I'll do that. But if anything I've learned, you don't have to have all of the things like I do as a nurse. I have the whole alphabet after my name, every certification under the sun. And yet I still just go and clock in and clock out for a pay rate that will maybe get a 5% raise if I'm ever lucky enough to get it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've learned.
And, there's certain positions that we should have lots of education. And wherever that education comes right now in society, look, I don't want somebody operating on my heart or giving me medical attention who doesn't know exactly what they're doing or who's just starting out. So, I like our formal education system for the medical field.
My husband right now is in a 3-year full-time program. I started this to pay his loans for that, right? So it's like, I get that, because I don't want anyone putting me to sleep that doesn't know how to do it correctly. I might not wake up on the other side, right?
That's right. I mean,
totally agree. But things like photography, I'm like,
totally
yourself. You can do it. If you're talented and you're skilled, you can learn. You can do it. If you just
totally. And I have a couple friends who have become photographers.
Yeah.
They started out as a passion, on an affordable camera, just taking photos themselves of spots around the city, of just various things that they, little unique little kind of trademark elements to their photography. And one of them right now has a contract. These are friends who I know from recovery. These guys were homeless or near homeless and addicted. Okay. Yep. I'm talking about people who have come from nothing. One of them has a contract with Toyota now.
Oh my gosh. That's so
and the Tampa Bay Rays, our baseball team. The other is doing wedding photography, headshots, corporate shots, baby, pregnancy, maternity, engagement, all of those things. Okay. And these guys literally just started out themselves with their own camera and just posting their photos to social media.
Everyone starts somewhere, right? And throw away the limiting beliefs. And I love that about the new challenge that you guys switched over, is there's so much on mindset, because I feel like so many of us are smart enough to do all these skills and implement them, but it's our dang heads that get in the way, where we're just like, oh, I'm not good enough, really. Someone else will take over. Or do you see how many other photographers are out there? Like, there's no way I'll be good to beat them or whatever, when really we're not even beating them. There's such a market out there. There's not such a thing as oversaturation. Like, just get out there and do the dang thing. You can do it.
Quincy, we'll leave it right there. You have inspired, empowered, educated us this morning. This has been wonderful. This has been an absolutely great way to end the week. You're the 1,001 episode. It's a great way to move in to this next 1,000 episodes of Wake Up Legendary, and I can't wait for you to be a part of many more of this next 1,000 episodes, if you will.
I'm here for it.
All right. Well, my best to you, your family, your mom, who you mentioned, your husband, yourself. Keep rocking, stay legendary, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Oh, thanks, Dave.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, my friends, you can find Quincy over on TikTok and Instagram at Rise Up with Quincy. RISEUPWITHQUINCEY. Rise Up with Quincy. No dots, no underscores, all one word. My friends, I'm fired up. I am inspired. It's one of the reasons why I do this. I know, selfishly, I come on, learn, get inspired. I love talking to entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs, people who are on fire. It makes it all the more better that people have gone through our education to kind of launch their careers. We love that. We love seeing you using it, launching with it, learning from it, evolving, adding to it, taking it to new levels. Quincy really showed us something special this morning, what's possible both with these skills. Also, when you combine the mechanics with the dynamics, you get out of your own way. You overcome or push up against your limiting beliefs. What a great story about realizing that she didn't need all of the degrees and the certifications and the time and all that, like she thought she did at one time with her photography passion that very easily could have become a business. And right now you have a passion for marketing and entrepreneurship, and it can become a business. I wonder what's standing in your way. It's likely something right here. My hope is that you'll use this episode today to not fully overcome it. It's going to become a process, but take the first step in facing it. And my assumption is, if I look into my crystal ball, once you face it, once you put it there on the table, this big, bad, limiting belief or belief that you have that you think is standing in your way, it's not going to become the mountain that you think that it is standing in your way. It's just a molehill. You need to step over it. And the first step is to take the first step. So get busy, be legendary, get out of here. Have a great day and a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday for another episode. Be legendary, my friends. Take care, and thanks again to the fantastic and legendary Quincy. Awesome episode. All right, my friends, get out of here.